All right, UMA community, more and more of you guys are getting into the style of waacking. And one of the things that I'm noticing in classes is a lot of this and a lot of that and like a lot of this. And the goal is to minimize all of that. I think one of the things to consider as we pursue our whatever it may be, our journeys in dance or our hobby in dance, however you want to frame it for yourself, I think it's important to recognize that dance is an athletic pursuit, and it's important to respect your pursuit the same way that, you know, any sort of professional athlete would respect theirs. It shouldn't just be throw yourself in there and kind of, you know, hope for the best or not even be mindful about the well-being of your body. It's really important to be thoughtful about how you prepare for what you do. So, of course, we are often preoccupied with the idea of stretching our shoulders, but one of the things that we don't spend as much time on is how to strengthen our shoulders and how to make it so that the shoulder girdle is just much more prepared for the force that it will receive through a practice of waacking. So what I'm about to show you are exercises that you know, I think will be helpful to many of you who are having these aches and pains. I recommend that you do this sort of practice throughout the week, particularly if you're thinking about practicing on your own with waacking, on top of maybe doing a handful of classes. It's important to make sure that you do these exercises at the end of class and then maybe before class. You just want to do it in the in-between spaces. Some people will call what I'm about to show you prehab. You know, these are the types of exercises that I'm going to show you are similar to what you know, tennis players or gymnasts, people who do a lot of like loaded activity on the shoulders. So one of the things that I encourage everyone to get, these aren't very expensive, and I haven't used this one in a long time, so there's a good chance that it might break on me while I'm trying to demonstrate. But a theraband, and you can get these from all types of places, definitely on Amazon. But then another way to do these exercises is with a light resistance. So anything from like depending on your comfort, 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds, you know, lightweight dumbbells or whatever you call them, free weights. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you, and this is, of course, do this after you've already warmed up, but the first thing that I'm going to share with you is an exercise where you pull the shoulders back, keep the ribs in, and you aim to pull this all the way back and then pull it, let it come back in. So you're resisting as you open up and then you're pulling back in. The main thing is to do this with the shoulder girdle, pull back, everything stabilized here, versus like letting this be splayed and you're just kind of chest open. The idea is to put the shoulder back into its girdle. So I'll demonstrate. I keep on turning directions, but boom. And keeping the abs tight as you do this. So that's one exercise. One thing that you can do once you extend out are pulses back, keeping everything in. So that's one exercise. Another exercise that's important is anchoring the arm on either side. You can put this in between the door or whatever, like, you know, put this in between the door or anchor it somewhere. And what you do is for me, I'm going to use my own body, is keep the same strong position and rotate out, pull in, rotate out, pull in, rotate out, pull in. The other thing that would be important if you do have a place to anchor your theraband is going the opposite direction. But it's a little bit harder, so I'm going to use my friend who is filming and show you what that would be like. if I'm able to get someone to anchor my theraband, I'm going to then stand strong and pull this in towards me. And also, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the rest of my body. So pulling the shoulders back, keeping a strong position. And you do this on both sides. So you want to work both directions. I'll take this back. Another exercise to do is you put it behind you and you hold it like this. And then you first establish a stretch here, and you can do this in multiple different directions, right? And then from here, we rotate, pull forward, and then we go back as far as we can. And take your time. Yep. And then even here, when you're back, you can do pulses back here. Here are some other exercises to do. You pull this over top of your head, and another thing to understand about the theraband, the more you open up on it, the less resistance you get. So the closer you are, the more resistance you're going to get. So you should adjust according to what feels comfortable to you. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put this above my head, and I'm going to try to and all of us have different shoulder flexibility. So I'm going to try to think about pulling my shoulders down and reaching back. From that position, I'm going to extend, and I'm not, actually for all of the straight arm exercises, my elbows are trying to be locked out. Now, if you have hyperextending elbows, you kind of have to modify accordingly. And it's probably better to not go to full extension, to kind of understand how to find a neutral position. So using a mirror would be really critical. So from here, locking my shoulders in, and then I'm coming down, keeping the ribs in, and then going up. Coming down, and then coming up. Now, a more advanced exercise from here is stabilizing at the top and then going to the other side. It really would probably be beneficial to do one side, like 10 or so on one side, and then 10 or so on the other side. Now, the next exercise I'm about to show you, the main thing is either step on the theraband, or I have my theraband tied like this because I was using this for foot and ankle exercises. That could be a whole other video, but I'll just improvise. I'm going to hold it like this because this is going to be helpful with what I attempt to do. And this might snap because there's going to be a lot more resistance. So I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to try to keep my arms straight. It's already proving difficult. And now, since this is a little bit tight, and one of the things that I would do if I had a better theraband prepared for this is that I would cut the theraband and I would have more length on it. So when you order your theraband, or here's a great place to go for theraband, Dancewear on Broad. It's on 1129 South Broad Street, between Washington and Ellsworth. They got tons of theraband there, and they can just cut it to length for you. So, reliable place. You know who owns that store? Teacher Will, who teaches movement flow and house dance ground moves. So talk to him for your theraband. Anyway, that's an aside. So what I would do from here is pull. Right now I'm just going to pull to shoulder level and release. Pull up and down. If I had more length in my theraband, I would pull all the way up and I would come all the way down. And then I can do that in various different angles. I can go out to here and I can go out to the side. And I would go all the way up, all the way down. You could do it just one arm. If you have two therabands, you would do both arms, okay? The last thing that I want to share is it's important from a stretching standpoint for Waacking is to understand how you're using your rib cage and how you're aligning your shoulders. Typically, it's useful to think about handstand alignment. So if I went into a handstand, my ribs are in, and I'm reaching, and I'm able to stack my shoulders all the way top to bottom. That's an important thing, shape to get to. Now, some of us, we won't have the shoulder flexibility for that. So working our way back into that shape is gonna be helpful. And then having your theraband is a way to kind of help yourself get into that position where maybe you choke closer into your theraband and you pull the shoulders down and you try your best to get yourself back into that position. Now, as you move into that position, it's important not to make adjustments that cheat you there. Don't cheat yourself in the position. You have to be honest. So ribs down, shoulders drawn down the back. What I mean by shoulders drawn down the back, it's not this. It's this, pulling your scapula down. So that scapula is down and I'm isolating the shoulders. I'm pulling the shoulders down and trying to get myself up. So that's a really helpful thing to think about. And then one thing that folks will do, if I put my nose to the wall and I try to lift my arms up and be able to get my hands here and then pull my hands off the wall. So if my good friend came and filmed me from this position, nose is here, ribs are in, and my goal is to reach and get my arms here. And then from here, I might do exercises like this. Arms are straight and pull back. And I might also go like this. Okay? These are all kind of exercises and mobility training that's gonna help to build a more stable shoulder girdle. Because you have to understand, we're throwing our arms out and putting a lot of force on the shoulders. And if we're not thoughtful about how we're doing that, it's gonna make it so that the dance isn't as enjoyable as it can be, and you increase the chances of injury. So it's really important to be thoughtful about how you're preparing yourself for your dance practice so that you can get the most out of it. It's important to realize that many of you who are into waacking, you actually practice in the same regard that someone who is searching for this professionally. And in that sense, it's super important to know your body. The last thing I'll say is this: understand your length. So practicing slow and testing your shape, testing your reach, testing your range. So then you know when you start to do things that are strong, where your limits are, where full extension is, where you have room to grow, and where you don't want to go beyond. Some folks don't have a sense of that and they just throw themselves willy-nilly. And that's what we want to get out of the habit of doing. We don't want to just chuck ourselves into what we're doing. We want to be as thoughtful, mindful, and prepared as we can be so we can get the most enjoyment out of the dance. So have a lot of fun, prepare yourselves before you come into class. I just realized I didn't do any wrist prep discussion and I didn't do any elbow prep. I said that at the beginning, but I didn't do it. So that means in a few weeks, there'll be another video.